Ever heard of a cyber attack that could change the course of history? A digital heist so audacious it transformed a nation into a global superpower. Today, we're diving into the dark heart of the internet, uncovering the chilling tale of the hack that made China a superpower, Operation Shady Rat. From stealing state secrets to crippling critical infrastructure, Operation Shady Rat was a cyber attack that shook the world. So buckle up because we're about to embark on a journey through the digital battlefield. Let's dive in. The creation of Kyle Wilhoit's virtual water plant experiment. In 2012, cybersecurity researcher Kyle Wilhoit embarked on an unusual experiment that would unveil the hidden dangers lurking in the digital world. His idea? To create a fully virtual water plant located in the fictional town of Arnold, Missouri. Although the plant only existed in cyberspace, it was a detailed and complex simulation, complete with industrial control systems, equipment documentation, and even a public-facing website. Kyle's goal was to mimic a real-world industrial facility to see how quickly it would be targeted by hackers once connected to the internet. Using just a few machines in his basement, he made the virtual plant appear fully operational, sending fake measurements to simulate day-to-day activities. Once everything was in place, he took a deep breath and connected the plant to the internet. What happened next was eye-opening. Within days, the virtual water plant was swarmed with cyber attacks from all corners of the globe. Hackers from North Korea, Russia, and even random trolls from Europe and the US took their shot. They probed the system, attempted to break login credentials, and tried to inject malicious code to cause havoc. The intensity and variety of the attacks were staggering, but there was one attack that truly stood out. Kyle noticed a series of spare phishing emails disguised as legitimate communications, landing in the inbox of his fake plant. These emails were well-researched and included seemingly valid attachments. One of these attachments hid malware that, when opened, scraped data from the virtual water plant and sent it back to a command and control server in China. It was clear this wasn't just a random hacker playing games. This was a sophisticated group with the capabilities to launch well-coordinated cyber attacks. It was, in fact, a group linked to one of the largest and most notorious cyber operations in history, Operation Shady Rat. This initial attack on Kyle's virtual water plant was just a small glimpse of a much bigger picture. A global cyber espionage campaign that had been quietly infiltrating companies, governments, and institutions for years. With that context, let's dive into what Operation Shady Rat was all about and why it became such a massive issue for international cybersecurity. The origins of Operation Shady Rat. Operation Shady Rat wasn't just another run-of-the-mill cyber attack. It was a long-term, stealthy cyber espionage campaign that had been silently infecting networks worldwide since 2006. The operation first came to light when a construction company employee in South Korea received a seemingly innocent email from a co-worker. Unbeknownst to him, the email attachment contained a remote access Trojan, or RAT, a type of malware that gave attackers complete control over the employee's computer. This wasn't just a one-off incident. Over the next several months, at least 8 other companies fell victim to similar attacks with more to follow. Each attack followed a familiar pattern, a well-crafted spear phishing email posing a legitimate communication from a trusted colleague or partner. The emails were often rushed, written in poor English, and contained attachments disguised as important documents. Once the attachment was opened, the rat was launched, and the attackers had full access to the system. The most critical element of these attacks wasn't the initial breach itself, but what happened after. Instead of causing immediate damage or chaos, the attackers did something far more insidious. They lingered. They stayed hidden in the system for months, sometimes even years, gathering sensitive information, monitoring communications, and moving laterally through the network to infect more systems. This method allowed them to siphon off valuable data without raising suspicion, like corporate secrets, governmental documents, and intellectual property. This technique, known as Advanced Persistent Threat or APT, became the hallmark of Operation Shady Rat. The term advanced refers to the attacker's sophisticated methods of intrusion, while persistent indicates their long-term presence within the networks. The operation targeted various industries and sectors globally, from corporations and governments to non-profits and international organizations. The longer the attackers stayed inside these networks, the more data they gathered. But at this point, no one knew who was behind the attacks or just how widespread the operation was. It wasn't until 2011 when McAfee, a prominent cybersecurity firm, stumbled upon a treasure trove of data that the full scope of Operation Shady Rat began to come into focus. McAfee's research team discovered a server that contained logs of all the victims who had fallen prey to the rat. The logs revealed an alarming number of compromised entities across the globe, including governments, private companies, and even international organizations. It became clear that these weren't isolated incidents but part of a larger, coordinated effort. McAfee dubbed this operation Shady Rat, a fitting name for the shadowy, long-term attacks carried out by the rat malware. As more details about Operation Shady Rat emerged, experts began to piece together the full scale of the campaign. It became apparent that the attackers weren't just after financial gain. Instead, they were primarily focused on stealing intellectual property, confidential governmental information, and trade secrets. And as investigators continued to follow the digital breadcrumbs, all signs pointed to one key player: the Chinese military. The discovery of Operation Shady Rat marked a turning point in the world of cybersecurity. It was one of the first times a large-scale, government-backed cyber-espionage campaign had been uncovered, showing just how vulnerable even the most secure systems were to persistent, determined attackers. Unit 61398 and its role in Operation Shady Rat. At the heart of the Operation Shady Rat was Unit 61398, a cyber-espionage division of China's People's Liberation Army, or PLA. Based in Shanghai, this group specialized in long-term, sophisticated cyber attacks, primarily targeting foreign corporations, governments, and military entities. Their goal was to steal valuable intellectual property and sensitive data to fast-track China's technological development. Unit 61398's methods were initially brazen, using Chinese internet providers without masking their tracks and even failing to encrypt stolen data. Despite these careless tactics, they successfully infiltrated high-profile targets like Lockheed Martin, stealing designs for the F-35 fighter jet, which were later mirrored in China's own Shenyang FC-31 aircraft. Their operations were far-reaching, targeting industries like defense, finance, and telecommunications. While Western cybersecurity firms eventually exposed their activities, Unit 61398 continued to operate, forcing a global rethinking of cybersecurity defenses against such advanced persistent threats. The impact of stolen data and intellectual property theft. The vast amount of data stolen during Operation Shady Rat had significant global repercussions. China used the stolen intellectual property to replicate and advance technologies, bypassing the need for expensive research and development. For example, Lockheed Martin's F-35 stealth fighter jet designs were copied to create China's Shenyang FC-31 aircraft, highlighting how easily critical technology can be reverse-engineered through cyber-espionage. This theft of intellectual property extended beyond the defense industry. China targeted various sectors like construction, energy, and manufacturing, accelerating its economic growth by using stolen innovations. From 2000 to 2010, China's economy grew exponentially, thanks in part to its ability to siphon technological advancements from other countries, fueling their industrial and technological leap forward. The global impact was severe, as companies and governments worldwide had to rethink cybersecurity measures to protect intellectual property, while China's rapid development forced competitors to address how to secure their sensitive data. Evolving cybersecurity threats post-Shady Rat. After Operation Shady Rat, cybersecurity threats evolved as hackers became more sophisticated. Chinese hacker groups, including Unit 61398, shifted tactics to avoid detection. They began using more advanced techniques like redirecting attacks through third-party countries and masking their origins, making it harder to trace them back to China. This change in strategy followed global pressure and public denouncements from the US and other nations. As cyber attacks grew more complex, they also became more focused on critical infrastructure like power grids, water systems, and transportation networks. Instead of merely stealing intellectual property, hackers aimed to maintain long-term access to these systems, potentially to disrupt operations in times of conflict. This marked a new phase of cyber warfare, where maintaining control over essential services became a critical threat to national security. Governments and companies had to improve their defenses, investing in stronger cybersecurity measures to protect against advanced persistent threats. While public exposure of Unit 61398 forced China to adopt more subtle tactics, the legacy of Operation Shady Rat remains a reminder of the ongoing risks in the digital age. So there you have it, the story of Operation Shady Rat and how China used cyber espionage to fuel its meteoric rise. Cyber warfare isn't going anywhere, and as we've seen, it's not just about stealing data, it's about shaping the future of nations. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of cyber espionage and other fascinating stories. Click the next video shown on your screen. See ya!